Hello everyone, welcome to the Indian Lawyer Legal Tips. I am Shika Pandey and we are here to discuss about the very crucial topic that is NEET case. And to discuss that, we are having here Mr. Sushila Varma, an advocate leading the Indian Lawyer and Allied Services. Welcome ma'am.
Okay, Shikha, that's a good topic. Thank you for selecting the NEET UG 2024 question papers leak. This was a burning topic in India for several months. This is primarily because the NEET UG exams is the exam which a lot of medical aspirants appear for in order to get into MBBS courses. Now, what happened in this particular matter is that in 2024, in the month of May 2024, the paper had leaked out in a place called Hazaribagh in Jharkhand. This obviously was a huge scandal because it is a very difficult exam, and if the papers get leaked out, the exams would not be conducted in an impartial and fair manner. One Vanshika Yadav approached the Supreme Court of India and the matter was heard in July 2024. What the petitioner had sought was that the exams should be cancelled, the exam results should be cancelled and there should be re-examination. The Supreme Court of India, after considering all the facts, was of the view that if the scandal, or rather if the leak happened in one particular location, why should the entire country suffer the consequences of a re-examination? So what happened was the Supreme Court declared that that particular area where people had given the exam, that's in Hazaribagh, Jharkhand, those results would not be counted. An FIR was lodged against the principal and the vice principal of the school, and the matter is now being investigated into by the CBI. The CBI is trying to see whether there are other areas also where the NEET examination papers were leaked. As of now, the CBI has arrested 40 people and the process is underway. Now, because of this particular examination paper leak, the legislature felt that a new law should come into force, and that is exactly what Shikha is going to ask me about. Shikha, let's go ahead with your questions.
Thank you ma'am. So as now we are completely aware about the case, so ma'am, can you please briefly explain about the act which has been passed by after this incident?
Yes. Now an act called the Public Examinations Prevention of Unfair Means Act 2024 has been passed by the legislature. This act was framed in order to ensure that there are no unfair means during the examination and that the exams are conducted with integrity and fairness so that no student in India suffers due to cheating or malpractice.
Okay, that's really good ma'am that this act has been passed. Now can you please tell our viewers that what motivated the introduction of this act?
Yes, this act was motivated by the incidents of cheating that have not only happened in May 2024 but have continued in India for quite some time. It is just that it was never done on a scale as the NEET UG exam, so probably many times these matters went unreported. But in this case, it became a huge scandal. So what the legislature wanted to do was cut down the unfair practices that were there in public examinations that undermine the credibility of the education system in India. So in order to ensure that students are examined accurately and fairly, this act has come into play.
Okay ma'am. So now we are completely aware why this act has been introduced. Ma'am, can you please tell us what is the primary objective of this act?
Yes. The primary objective, like I said, is to ensure fairness and integrity in the public examination system. Now, what happens when a case like the NEET UG examination paper leaks? People start doubting the professionals who get admission on the basis of such exams. And there's always a thought process that's going on in everybody's mind, that is the person really qualified? So I would say probably the most important aspect is that it aims to create a level playing field for all examinees, and at the same time uphold the value of merit in the Indian educational system.
Okay, ma'am. That's a really good purpose for enacting this act. So now, moving forward, ma'am, can you please tell us about how does this act ensure about the integrity and fairness in the public examination?
Yes, I would say that with this act there is a certain method or a certain mechanism that has been set in place. Now this mechanism is for monitoring examination centers. Technology has to be used to detect malpractices, and there are certain guidelines that have been put in place for the conducting of examinations. Also, what this act does is it provides very strict penalties for anyone who violates the provisions of this act. So this would act as a deterrent for people who were earlier getting involved in malpractices. Sushila, do you have any other questions?
Yes, of course, ma'am, I have.
Yes,
Ma'am,
please tell
can you
me.
please explain how this act addresses the issues related to cheating and malpractices in the examination?
Yes. Now this act addresses cheating and malpracticing by categorizing what is known as an unfair practice, what is impersonation, that is you're aware that people are actually using candidates to appear for them in order to get into these public exams. Then they are trying to ensure that no electronic devices are used during the exams. And most importantly, I would say that the fines and the penalties are so high that anybody who's caught who's caught cheating while giving the public exams will be immediately disqualified, and apart from being disqualified, they will also have to pay a huge fine, and there are times when there will be imprisonment also.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, as you have mentioned about the cheating and malpractices in the examination, so is there any imprisonment mentioned in this act?
Yes. In fact, I would say that is the high point of this act, because using unfair means is not something new. It has been going on for years altogether. So earlier what used to happen is if somebody used unfair means, they were just fined. Now obviously the fine was not enough, otherwise they would not get bolder and bolder and have things like what happened recently in Hazaribagh in Jharkhand, that is the leaking of the papers. So what now this act has done is that it has started something new, and that is there is imprisonment for a term of 3 years if somebody is caught either being caught in a malpractice or using unfair means. And not only that, they can also impose fine which can go up to rupees 10 lakhs. Now if the punishment is so harsh, obviously anyone who earlier used to look into these kind of malpractices will now think twice before getting into it. But apart from this, Shikha, you also have the criminal system. Even assuming that this act was not there, you would still have the criminal law by which a person can get arrested, can get convicted, will have to be imprisoned for a few years, has to pay fine, etc. But probably I would say the plus point of this act is that now for the public examinations there is a particular and a very stringent law that has been put into place. And most importantly, in my opinion, what this act does is that it upholds the integrity and fairness of the public examination system, because many of us often wonder whether these public exams are really fair. I'll give you an example.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for providing such a good information to me and to our viewers.
So if you have liked this video, I would request you to please like, share and subscribe. If you find our program helpful, do press on the bell icon and you shall be notified every time we upload a new video. We are uploading new videos on legal tips, or rather legal aspects, every week, so that we can create legal awareness amongst one and all. But I would like to warn my viewers that these are only legal tips and should not be considered as legal advice. With this, I will say namaste, thank you, and we shall meet again next week. Thank you.